Let's do it.
Welcome to a very special training to set you up for the holidays. If you are someone and like me, you like to be a bit of a pig, but then you regret it. You're like, oh my God, like I gained 5 or 10 pounds and felt like a slug for 2 weeks straight at Christmas. This training is going to help you navigate what to do, little simple things you can do so that you're not destroying yourself like I've done many Christmases because I love food, but I don't want the downside. If you're sick of the downside, but want to enjoy still the holiday, the festive, all that stuff, Brittney, I want to introduce you. Brittney is someone I met. She's my coach through something that we're involved with together. She's going to talk about the benefits of a couple products and protocols you can do. Personally, I've been doing this. It's helped me get off coffee. I've been 7 weeks off it. I don't miss it. I don't have any crashes. My energy is amazing. Also, the other product, part of the protocol, has helped my blood sugar and just intermittent fasting. And I've just been losing like a half a pound to a pound of body fat every week. So there's a bunch of benefits. But Brittany's going to talk about some simple action steps you can take, whether you're on these products or not, that are going to help you to better navigate a beautiful time of year that can have a lot of heavy emotions. And so it's so easy for me to be tempted to turn to emotional eating. So Brittany has been doing health coaching for almost 3 years. She's also a life coach. I've had the pleasure of working with Brittany now for, I don't even know what it's been, 6 weeks or something like that. And she's a plethora of knowledge. She's very practical. You're going to enjoy learning from her. She's just a blast to work with and to spend time with. David Adweep, thanks for being here. Gina Cruzen, thanks for being here. Lorna Gale, thanks for being here. Savannah Grace, thanks for being here. We're going to welcome to the stage Brittany. And if you are someone that's watching we're going to post this, connect with the person that posted it and let them know if you'd like more information on this challenge that's happening in January to set you up for a wonderfully successful 2026. You look and feel good in you so you can go and accomplish your visions and goals and missions and whatever you're on this planet for, so we can help you go further, faster toward what matters to your heart. So Brittany, welcome here. Floor is yours, my dear.
Thank you. Honored to be here. Thank you. I just want to briefly introduce myself. My name's Brittney Zedick. Amos just told you a little bit about what I've been doing for the last couple of years. But I am passionate about this space, and I'm going to break it down for you a little bit, like what got me so into it as I share my screen and tell you a little bit more. I just know there are so many of us that are struggling with our health, whether it's on a little scale or a big scale, or maybe we have family that is struggling and we don't want to go down that path. And we're just trying to figure out what the right thing to do is. And it can be overwhelming, and there's lots of voices out there. And so that's why I'm excited today, because I feel like what I'm going to show you is simple. Like, it's very simple and straightforward. And if you're a carnivore or you're a vegan or anything in between, this can work for you. And it's something you can implement today. It's also something that, I'm going to share a little bit, Amos said, about some products that I feel passionately about. However, even if you have no interest in those products, I promise you're going to walk away feeling like you understand a little bit better what you should be doing and some things that you can start doing without the products that I know will benefit you. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're just going to make sure that technology is on our side here. Just 1 second. Got the right screen going. Alrighty.
Brittany, what I'm going to do too is if Lorna, Gina, Andrew, Savannah, if you guys have questions, throw them in chat. And then Brittany, if I'll help you out in case there's questions that come up, just throw them in chat, everybody. Brittany can see them. If she doesn't see them, I will relay them to her.
Please, interrupt at any point. Okay. So this first part, and for everybody listening, no matter if you're watching the recording or whatever, I'm asking for like a little bit of participation. Okay. So you don't even have to do it in real life if you don't want to, but raise your hand. I'm going to go through a list of symptoms. And if you or someone you love is dealing with one or more of these things, you just put your hand down. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Psoriasis, eczema, acne, diabetes or prediabetes, heart disease, skin tags or skin pigmentation, mental health issues, fatigue, arthritis, bloated, inability to lose weight, cravings for sugar and salty foods, migraines, high cholesterol, PCOS, loss of muscle, fatty liver, high blood pressure, constantly hungry, inflammation, obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, erectile dysfunction, neuropathy, Alzheimer's and dementia, These are all things that are connected to your metabolism.
Brittney,
Okay.
let's get
Most
people to vote right now. So let's go back to uh, main screen and how many of these, who scored what? How many personally or people you know? Do you want to throw the number and let's give our number and let's just say out our number out loud. Do you want to throw that on screen, Brittney? The
yes.
list again
Like you
so
want,
we could, yeah, if they could see
yeah.
that, then everybody chime in how either you personally or I know. So like for me, it's like diabetes all in my family, heart disease in the family, skin pigmentation stuff, fatigue, arthritis. Like I think I'm half the list. So I would be at least 10 of these personally or in my family or people I know easily 10. Who else? What's your number?
Well, and I can tell you that one thing that is not commonly thought of, we think of metabolism, we think about like weight loss. That's all we think. But that whole list is linked back to your metabolism. And if we keep in mind that this is linked back to our metabolism, really there is a root problem that anchors all of this, and it's something called insulin. Oh, I missed that last one. Do you see that? Headaches and brain fog. So add that to your list. And Amos, when people start putting in chat, if there's any numbers you want to share, please shout out. But this all links back to something called insulin resistance. If you've never heard of insulin resistance, you're going to be a pro on this by the end of this call. You're going to totally understand what it is. But basically, insulin resistance is like having a leaky pipe in your house that's causing all kinds of damage. But you go to the doctor and you treat these different symptoms rather than solving for the root of the problem, which is the insulin resistance. And so, what I'm going to show you today will help you address that root problem. And whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever symptoms you're struggling with, will just naturally fall off. They'll just be eliminated. And insulin resistance impacts all of us a little bit differently. You saw that's a broad range of things. Some people end up with skin issues and other people end up with diabetes. But it all comes back to having that same root problem. And if we fix that, we get rid of all the other issues.
Britt, this would be a great time to go to that list before we move on, just to get more interactive with them. Why don't you guys come on, Mike? How many do you personally have? How many do you guys know?
I've experienced two or three, and I know others with at least three of those conditions.
Awesome. Thanks, David Angelique. Gina, how many? What's your personal, like personally, you know, people?
Personally, I had 3, and people I know 6 or more.
Awesome. Gina, Lorna, how many?
3 for myself and 4, 5, or 6 for others as well.
Awesome. Savannah, how many?
See if I have it on mic. I had 3 for myself and 7 for others. So yeah.
Amazing. So if you're watching in the replay, how many personal, how many total? Feel free to throw in the comments. Thanks, Brittney. Back to you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. So this is my dad. I'm just giving you a little bit of background on me and why I'm here teaching about this. My dad, the absolute best dad in the world, life of the party, generous, amazing person. He got diagnosed with colon cancer when he was 58 years old. And unfortunately, he passed away. Now, when we went down the rabbit hole of trying to save him and went to every doctor and everything we could think of to try to help him, we realized that he had a lot of that list. And they all were linked back to this root problem. But we didn't know that this is what we needed to be looking at. And instead, we were just putting Band-Aids on symptoms, high blood pressure, psoriasis, even with weight loss and gain. And my dad was one of those people who, if things were good, food was the answer. If things were tough, food was the answer. We had one of those houses where it was just a revolving door in the pantry and you could eat at any time of day. And there was always people at my house and it was part of the fun of life. And at the same time, caused these issues that ended up leading to some serious chronic illnesses. And one of the things that he was being treated for was the psoriasis, and the medication that he was using, we found out later, had a black box warning of colon cancer. And we had no idea, of course, that you don't want to read all the fine print and freak yourself out. You just do what your doctor tells you to do. But really, like, his body had been screaming at us to do something. It was unfortunately too late for my dad, but there are so many people who it's not too late for. And I really believe that if he had these 2 simple steps, that things would have been different for him. And so I just want to shout this from the rooftops because I know that there is somebody within the sound of my voice who's going to hear this message, change these 2 things, and potentially save their life. I'm going to go back to just share with you because thankfully, since learning this, this is Katie. Katie is one of my dear friends. We've done each other's hair for over 25 years, and Katie was struggling with polycystic ovarian syndrome, prediabetes, cholesterol issues, thyroid issues. She was on 9 medications. And I found out about this. I said, Katie, will you take a chance on this? Like, what if this works for you? And she went in on it. And in about a year and a half, she's down 100 pounds. PCOS symptoms are gone, off metformin, off thyroid medications, normal A1C, off 9 medications. This has totally changed her life. And she feels like 10 years younger, 15 years younger. And it's the simplest thing she's ever done. She's not on a diet. She's not restricted. This helped her make a U-turn down a one-way street that she was headed down. So incredible. This next one is Natalie. Natalie, if you just look at this picture, you're like, okay, there's no before and after. Well, this is because, yes, Natalie has lost 20 pounds since doing these 2 steps. And she has food freedom for the first time in her life, which is amazing. And those of you who know what food jail feels like, where all you think about is what you're going to eat next, and is that good or bad, or what am I supposed to do? Can I eat the food at the party, or should I bring my own food? That's gone for her, which is incredible. But she's also reversed her depression. Natalie was struggling severely with depression. She was seeing a functional doctor. She's paid over $6,000 and felt worse. She implemented these 2 simple steps, and in 3 weeks, her depression lifted. So if you are struggling, if you looked at that list and you felt like that was you, you are not alone. 93% of American adults are struggling with their metabolic health. If you think about that number, it kind of makes you sick, because basically what we're saying is 9 out of 10 people are struggling with their health, which tells us that it is not a you problem. There's not something wrong with you and your willpower. We have a systemic issue. 50% of us have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. 74% of Americans are overweight. That's why 1 in 4 are on the weight loss injections, because people are struggling. 50% of children are overweight. This never used to be the case. If you think about our grandparents' times, this was so rare, and now you see it everywhere. 37% of women are dealing with mental health issues. 26% have something called polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's the leading cause of infertility in the world, and it's 1 in 4 women. Why is this happening? And I'll just stop the share for just a second, because I'm curious if you guys have a guess. If this is such a nationwide, really global problem, like why? Why is this so prevalent? You guys know better than I do what it is. Any guesses? Yes, Savannah?
Yeah, I would say probably fast food industry. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, great guess. Yeah. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
Seems to me that there's this plethora of habit of eating just sort of different times throughout the day. There's the meals, but there's always the snacks and things like that. So it's that grazing type approach.
Yeah. Gina, go ahead.
All the processed food. Food is made to make people rely on it. There's stuff in food that make people want to get it over and over again. So
Yeah.
I think it's the food industry.
Great comments. Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else? And I'll break it down for you guys. Savannah, did you have something else?
Yeah, definitely. One more, definitely emotional eating. That's one of them I personally have found myself struggling with up and down. And so I know that that's one that people get, especially during the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah. And this time during the holidays is the perfect time to be looking at this, because it's kind of like the chicken or egg thing. Like, Are you eating because you're depressed, or are you depressed because you're eating, right? It's this tricky cycle. And so, yeah, so I think this will kind of bring some light to it. So why is this happening? You guys know better than I do that it is this modern diet that we're dealing with. Even fruits and vegetables are bigger and sweeter than they have ever been. And the food that we have available to us is highly addictive. And this is intentional. We talk about food processing all the time and processed foods. What does that mean? If you look at a grain of wheat, the way that it grows in the wild, like Mother Nature, God, whatever you believe in, packaged this carbohydrate, wheat, in something called fiber. It's what it is wrapped in. But we process the wheat, we remove the fiber, and we're left with the white fluffy stuff that we make bread with and pretty much everything else in the grocery store, right? This also happens with fruits and veggies. We take a carbohydrate in nature like an apple that your body knows exactly what to do with, and we process it. We remove the fiber, and we end up with this sugar water. Now think about this for just a minute in the frame of an apple, okay? Because you can eat like an apple and it's delicious and satisfying. If you make a glass of apple juice, you have to use like 3 or 4 apples to get 1 glass of apple juice. And you can drink that glass of apple juice alongside a huge meal, no problem. But if you ate all the apples that it took to make that juice, you would be pretty full. And so you see, we remove the filling component, which is the fiber, and then we become kind of insatiable. And think about this for just a minute. Our bodies were meant to process carbohydrates as long as they're packaged in that fiber. Even sugar itself, there we go. Even sugar itself in nature came packaged in fiber. We think of it like this, but this is actually how it came. And rice is another example. We think of this rice on the left and this rice on the right as 2 different things. The truth is, the white fluffy stuff is just processed food. It is supposed to be packaged in fiber. And I just want you to know that when food makers did this was a brilliant move on their part, because now the food is not filling, right? But it caused a lot of other problems for us because fiber makes us feel full longer. That's one, which is why they removed it, because it makes it more shelf stable, and it also makes it more filling, and they don't want that. They want us to eat as much as we can. But it also naturally balances your cholesterol, makes you sensitive to insulin. There's that word again. We're going to talk more about that. It helps you control your blood sugar, helps with digestion, of course. We always think of fiber as helping with digestion, but it's also the gut biome. It helps with lowering your triglycerides naturally, and it restores leptin. This is a hormone that tells you when you're full. And if you don't have that hormone working for you, you feel hungry all the time. So I'm going to show you really quick. We're going to do a little quick demonstration. So I'm going to put some just pure fiber. This is just over 7 different forms of plant fibers. And we're going to shake it up in this jar. And we're just right now, see, it's just nice and runny.
But I'm science class. Science class.
Yeah, science class. Exactly. I'm going to let this sit, and we're going to come back to that in a minute because I want to show you. I'm going to show you something about that fiber. Okay. But imagine that it's like you just ate a bunch of vegetables. Okay. You chew them up, they go into your stomach, they break down, and this is what starts to happen. Okay. They start becoming kind of viscous, like gelatin. It starts thickening up. That's what fiber actually does. Okay. So we're going to come back to that in a minute, but I want you to keep your head on, like, when I say fiber, this is what I mean, because when I thought about fiber, I was like, oh, Wheaties. I know what you mean. Like cereal, right? Like that's fiber. When reality is, when you go look at a box of cereal, maybe it used to in the early 80s, maybe we used to get fiber there. But unfortunately now it's almost all carbohydrates. They've stripped the fiber completely out of it. And that's why you can eat like 5 bowls of cereal, because there actually is no fiber. It's just straight carbohydrates. Okay. So the issue with this is that we are hungry every couple hours. Our food is so carbohydrate heavy that we are never quite satisfied. We get something called a glucose spike when we eat our foods. And this glucose spike is all the energy from the food you just ate, giving you this rush, which always is followed by a crash. We all know what this crash feels like. It triggers more hunger, specifically cravings for carbohydrates. And we just feel kind of crummy. And we have to eat every couple hours, a bite of this, a handful of that, a little taste here and there. And this has become socially acceptable, socially normal in every break room in our country you go to. It's almost weird if you're not snacking all day long. This is just normal. In fact, how many of you were told by a dietitian or a nutritionist that you needed to eat 6 small meals to keep your metabolism going? I was actually told that if I didn't eat frequently, my body would think it was going into starvation mode and it would start storing fat. So I needed to eat frequently to keep my metabolism going. Okay, and this unfortunately has backfired for us as a whole. That 93% number is a result of this advice. But this is what we were told. We were also told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day and you need to start your day off right? These are the kinds of things. So you've all heard this. But unfortunately, what's really happening is we're on this blood sugar roller coaster. Some of you are sitting here thinking, do I need to care about my blood sugar? If I'm not diabetic, if I'm not, somebody who has that in my family, does it really matter? And I want you to know that blood sugar is so much more than just diabetes. It leads to bad energy, bad hormones, bad metabolism. People who have a blood sugar roller coaster struggle with their vision, their kidneys, their heart, their nerves. It also impacts your mental health, anxiety, depression. This is enough reason for me, okay? I'm kind of vain over here. Premature aging is impacted if you're on a blood sugar roller coaster. You will have more wrinkles. Your joints will hurt. You will be dealing with constant cravings. This sounds like most of us because it is most of us. But this is happening because of what we typically do. We wake up in the morning, we have breakfast, coffee with cream and sugar, maybe a bagel, a piece of toast, a bowl of cereal, waffles, you name it. In fact, maybe come in the chat and say, what is the typical breakfast that you consider healthy? For most people, it's oatmeal or something like that, right? We end up with this spike, and this green line is representative of what happens with your blood sugar. So we have a spike followed by a crash, and then we have a snack, and then we have another snack.
Hey, Brett.
And then,
Can I interject? This would be a great time to have everyone come on camera and say what they thought was a healthy breakfast. Everyone, 10 seconds, I'll go first. I thought a healthy breakfast was seriously a big ass bowl of that oatmeal that's full of toxic stuff now. It's one of the most toxic things I love butter. So it's like, lots of butter and brown sugar and then maybe some nuts. And I thought that was like the power way to start my, what was all your guys'? Who wants to come on next? 10, 20 seconds. What was your power breakfast you thought was amazing? Savannah.
All right. Well, here it is. It was eggs and orange juice. So that's my thing. So now I'm confused. So I'm totally listening. And
Awesome.
I like eggs every way, including boiled eggs. That was my favorite way of doing it.
Thanks, Savannah. Laura Gill.
It varies by each day what I feel like. So yesterday it was toast and avocado with eggs on top, and then nutritional yeast. Sometimes it is oats with hemp hearts. Sometimes it's a cup of tea.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. David Angewebe.
I don't do this anymore, but it used to be a big bowl of oatmeal with peanut butter and honey and maybe some kind of milk.
That's awesome. All right. Thanks. Britt, what was yours, Brittany?
Yeah, same. I just thought like cream of wheat or, the old school cream of wheat with some sugar and some, something like that. That sounded amazing and healthy. Also, oatmeal, clearly, bananas, honey, all the things. Yeah, that sounded like a hearty breakfast to me. Gina, did she share? Did I miss Gina's?
Yeah, but my share is not fair. And we eat different in Holland, that's for sure. But it's also I know what not to eat. So when I was young, I ate bread. I ate bread with chocolate chocolate sprinkles, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And that's actually common. I see it all the time with kids here. They'll do like a croissant or bread with like Nutella slathered all over it, right? Breakfast. And it's like, oh, it's the start of the day. You need some energy. So, okay, we're all on the same page here. This is what happens, which is why a couple hours later, we need a little snack. We need a little something. This is how it goes. Okay. So then we have our lunch. And this causes another glucose spike, followed by a crash. We all feel like we need to take a nap in the afternoon. We need a Coke. We need a soda. We need a protein shake, a little pick-me-up, a granola bar. Sometimes between lunch and dinner, it's like 6 hours. So we graze in the afternoon. Then we have dinner. And then sometimes we're done. But if you're anything like me, you're not done. You need a late night snack. You need to go back in for a little something else right before bed just to tide you over. Okay. Now, this is what a blood sugar roller coaster looks like. And this is what most people do every day. And we're fine doing it for a while. But unfortunately, over time, it catches up to us because this red line represents a hormone called insulin. And every time there is sugar in your blood, insulin, this red line, has to come in. It doesn't drop off as quickly. It takes like 3 or 4 hours for this hormone to leave our system. It stays because every time it was starting to drop off, we ate again. So it bumped it back up and it bumped it back up and it bumped it back up. And before you knew it, you have insulin in your bloodstream all day long, just kind of bathing your cells in insulin. Now, think about yourself for a minute here. Insulin comes along and it's like, I have energy for you. Brittney just ate. I have energy for you. And if the cell is sensitive to insulin, opposite of insulin resistant, right? Sensitive, then the cell will open up, energy will come in, and the cell will be powered, and everything's great. But if that cell is constantly and incessantly being knocked on, I have energy for you. 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 The cell is finally like, I cannot keep answering this. And it starts tuning it out. It becomes insulin resistant. It's like enough, right? It's this ever-present knocking that is just too much. And here's where this can become a problem, right? Because now the body's like, oh no, the cells are no longer responding to this. What do I do? And our bodies are so smart and they are figure out how to adjust. And so it cranks out more insulin to try to get the cell to respond. And this is where we start running into problems because when insulin is high, we cannot burn our fat storage as fuel. We cannot use our fat storage as energy. We are completely reliant on the food that we eat and the sugar that we're taking in, the food, the carbohydrates that we're consuming to give us energy. And if we don't have them, we feel terrible. And we're just constantly battling this. Now, think about this for a minute because this is different for everyone. It's not like all of your cells become insulin resistant at once. For some of us, it'll be brain cells that start going insulin resistant. We get migraines. For others of us, we get ovary cells, and then we end up with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Other people, blood pressure issues or erectile dysfunction. And this is because the blood vessel can't vasodilate and constrict because those little cells have become insulin resistant because they can't deal with the incessant knocking.
Question.
So,
can I ask a
please.
question? Okay, this makes total sense because if I am not a good friend and I'm always annoying my friends, they'll be like, what the hell? Go away, Bracewell. If I'm doing when I overtrain my body goes, you're not being a friend to me. I'm going to break down so it makes sense. If I do something too much, the concept is the same. Because I know since I started intermittent fasting and I don't even eat till 11, 12 or 1 now, I have no calories before. Everything is better. Not only am I losing body fat, I feel better when I'm not eating and then I eat for like 6-hour window. As a man, I know women are supposed to be like 8, but as a man, I feel so good. And I feel like I'm letting my body do what it wants to do and I'm not getting in its way.
Yeah, exactly. So we with this ever-present hormone that our body's never getting a break from, it's exactly what Amos just explained. Okay. And so let's see here. Oh, I stopped the share, but let's get it back. Okay. So what this leads to over time is all the things we talked about in the beginning, right? This laundry list of problems that root back to us just doing what's societally normal, but is hurting us. This list of symptoms that you never wanted anyway are a result of this. So, how do we reverse this? What are the 2 simple steps to becoming insulin sensitive and resetting your metabolism? And you guys can probably guess, right? Because if we know what the 2 problems are, how do we reverse engineer this? Step 1, start every meal with fiber and eat your food in order. Okay. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. But basically we start with our fiber. Then we move on our plate to the protein sources, the healthy fats. Then we have the carbohydrates last. Notice I'm not telling you can't ever eat a carbohydrate again. I'm just saying do it in order. If you look at a plate of food, this is what this would look like, okay? Start with the fiber, move on to the protein, save the carbs for last. And I realize that if you're looking at this plate, you're like, wait, so I have to eat all the broccoli and then all of the protein and then say, I know you want to mix this together. That's fine. Couple bites of the fiber, couple bites of the protein. And then if you want to mix it together, great. I'm going to explain to you why though, because remember our little science project, okay? As this has been sitting, this stuff starts getting thick. Notice it's no longer just runny and clear. We're starting to see this kind of gooey thing that's forming. And so what happens is when we start, it might seem like, who cares what you start eating? Because doesn't it like a washing machine in there and it all just churns around anyway? But it actually matters because if you start with the fiber and you get this in the lining of your gut first, okay, you are literally coating your intestines, your stomach with this kind of goo, okay? And anything that you eat after this is going to hit this and kind of get wrapped into it. And because most of the foods that we're looking at don't have enough fiber anymore, we're putting it back. Nature wanted the fiber and the carbohydrate to go back together. We're putting it back together by starting with fiber. And there are certain foods that have a bit of an abundance of fiber, a little bit left over, that if you eat them first, they will buffer some of the carbohydrates that you eat after them. And then there are some foods like an apple, it kind of balances itself. It's a lot of carbohydrates, it's also a lot of fiber. That's not going to help you with anything else you eat. But if you take just straight fibers like this, and I'm actually wondering where my other prop is. You guys might have to give me a second to go grab it so I can show you what this does, because I want to show you what happens if you take like a piece of bread, like straight carbohydrate, and you eat it after this, what happens to it. So I'm going to show you that in just a second.
Awesome.
But okay, let's get
Should we
back
go
to
to
this.
questions? Do you want to go to any questions that are coming up right now? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. If anybody has any questions right now, that sounds great.
So one question is, when is the right time to have juice? If you're someone that's like, I need juice. Okay. When do you have juice? Number one, Lorna's asking about babies. You're like, well, babies eat every few hours. Obviously, there's different rules for babies, but if you want to hit those 2 things, let's say you want to have candy or you want to have juice because that's your thing. When is the best time to do it so you're not spiking your insulin? And then what do you do? How do babies and kids play into this?
Okay, so first of all, babies specifically, our goal is growth for them, right? We want growth for them. So eating every couple hours is a great way to grow. As adults, we're not on that same mission. We're not trying to grow anymore, right? And if we decide to eat like a baby, we will experience a similar result. And so that's kind of how I like to think about this. Now, if you think about the fact that, you've got a child that's mostly survived by milk, which is perfect. It's fat, it's protein, it's carbs all wrapped into one. But for us, not enough fiber, which is where we get into trouble as we grow and as we progress. Lots of those probiotics and stuff are worked into a baby's diet. As an adult, we have to opt into those things in a different way. Remind me, the other question was, Amos?
Juice. If you're someone that's like, I love my apple juice.
Okay. So you're not going to like my answer on this. I don't think juice is ever a good idea, literally ever. I'm so sorry. But that doesn't mean you can't have it. If you want to have it, and everybody that I teach on this, I say, okay, if you love soda, if you love juice, just eat it during your meal. Like when you have your meal, have it with your meal, have it after you've had some fiber. That way it's going to help buffer the impact. And this is not just true for juice or soda. This is also true for like alcohol, people that have cocktails or something like that. Like you don't want to do that on an empty stomach. You want to buffer the impact with some fiber to help balance that heavy carbohydrate or sugar load. So that would be my recommendation when and if you have juice. I think that eating things in their whole form, the way nature intended, is the ideal scenario. But that's kind of like phase 2. Like just eat whatever you're going to eat. Just put fiber in front of it to begin with.
Amazing. Do you want to grab a prop and we'll
yeah, will you guys just give me like 10 seconds?
Yeah, do your thing. Let's go to gallery. How's everyone? What's hitting you guys? Seeing that stuff, because I've been on that product for a while, going, that's what's going through my pipes. What's hitting you guys?
Okay, here we go. All right, so piece of bread. Look at this. Do you see how it just literally wraps it up in fiber? And this is very different than like an over-the-counter fiber because this has the viscosity. If you don't know what that means, go look it up. It's kind of interesting. But basically, this is what you're looking for, not only as food for your gut microbiome, but it's what you're looking for to help you balance the excess carbohydrates that we are all faced with. So, okay, step 2, because we know step 1. We got step 1 locked in, right? Start your meals with fiber. Fiber first. It's a really easy alliteration. Fiber first. Second thing you need to do, eat less frequently. Now, this is going to be so much easier for you if you start with step 1, because you're not going to be hungry as often because fiber is filling and it helps balance your blood sugar. So this is actually what I recommend. And I realize for some of you, you're looking at this going, whoa, 2 meals a day? That seems a little extreme. Okay. You don't have to do this. You could start with 3 meals a day and maybe work your way to this. I have lots of different fasting calendars and guides, depending if you're a man or a woman. But the reason I love this, and this is what I do most days, is because if we think about, we're skipping this breakfast meal, right? This breaking your fast early in the morning. You've been sleeping. You've already been fasting. If you wake up in the morning and you keep going without eating, your body will find energy elsewhere, packaged on somewhere else on your body. It will have to shift and tap into that for energy. That's what we want. We want our bodies to be metabolically flexible, where they can either use the food that you're eating as the energy source or the excess that they've stored as the energy source. And so I like the idea of throughout the morning, just letting your body go find resources in its storage. And this is going to help insulin that's already come down overnight stay nice and low and steady. So we get this long phase where our body becomes very insulin sensitive. Okay. So I love this. Now you can modify this if you like breakfast and you want to stop eating earlier in the evening. There's lots of modifications, but what I'm suggesting here is we eat way, way, way less frequently. This is going to let us burn through the storage we have, and it's also going to sensitize us to insulin. So this is where these products come in, because for most of us, this idea of eating less frequently, maybe we've tried it, maybe we've tried intermittent fasting, we feel lightheaded or weak or shaky, we don't like how we feel. And so the support that I have found, and I've now been doing it for over 3 years, is in these 2 products. And these are both natural. They are nutraceutical grade, which means, sounds like pharmaceutical, but they are natural, no side effects, but working better than medication in many cases. Okay. And I'm going to break down for you exactly what they do and how I take them. I wake up in the morning, there's 2 products. Wake up in the morning and I start by sipping my yerba mate. Okay. This is the most concentrated form on the market. It makes you forget about food. It is like willpower in a packet. It actually increases your body's production of the GLP-1 hormone, which is the hormone that everybody's injecting right now because we don't have enough of it, right? Most people are deficient, but you can get your body to produce it naturally. And that's what I do. I sip on this, it produces it, I start feeling great. And it also has a plant nutrient called chlorogenic acid, and that is a natural insulin sensitizer. This is just a plant, the yerba mate plant, okay? You can find chlorogenic acid in a lot of plants, eggplants, apples, artichokes. It's just highly concentrated here. All of those foods, though, will help energy get into your cells easier. So you'll have better performance. This, though, is just a really simple way to get it. I sip on this all day long. Whenever I'm not eating, I am sipping on this. I have at least 2 a day, okay? Sometimes I have one in the morning and one in the afternoon, sometimes 2 in the morning. It's fantastic. The second part of this is this. You guys have already seen it. This is the balance. This is fiber, okay? And this stuff I have before my meal. Now, when you first order it, you get 1 per day. And ideally, you put it before your heaviest meal of the day. You are not going to drink it when it's thick like this. You're going to let this happen inside your stomach. You're going to drink it down when it's nice and runny. Then you're just going to eat your meal. I now order an additional box of that because I like having it before both of my meals. You don't have to do that. You can just start as is, add that later if you like the idea of that. Or if you know during the holidays you're going to have more carbohydrates than usual, you might want a little more fiber to help you buffer the impact of that, okay? So this is kind of what this might look like. You start your day with the mate, you eat your lunch. You have another mate, you have your fiber, then you have your dinner. Done, okay? You could have 2 of the mate in the morning if you wanted. That's great too. A study that was recently done on the balance, which is the fiber I'm showing you, was done on a waffle breakfast, which I don't recommend, okay? But they did this. Amos, you'll like this. It was waffles, orange juice, syrup.
What about the butter?
See.
What about the maple syrup?
Hey, of course maple syrup and of course butter. But here's the beautiful thing. They wanted to see, like, for the average American that's eating breakfast like this, what will happen if you drink this before you have that? And the results were pretty astounding. It showed that it decreased your blood sugar spike 37%, which didn't make any difference to me until I learned that the leading medication that's prescribed when your blood sugars start creeping up, metformin, that lowers your blood sugars 25 to 30%. So this is stronger than the leading medication, natural, no side effects. Fantastic, okay? So literally, if you're diabetic, this is the difference between an insulin shot. You know, you eat something like that, you walk around the corner, you give yourself an insulin shot so that you don't lose your feet later. And all of a sudden, you don't have to worry about that because you just drank this down. So that's the first part of this. The second part of this is, let's see, there we go. The Unimate that I'm showing you, this yerba mate concentrate. And this study was done up against fasting with just water versus with the mate. And they saw a 70% increase in that GLP-1 hormone. So this is huge, especially for people who are already thinking, well, I'm already healthy. I'm already in a good place. Yeah, well, you could optimize that by adding this. And for anybody that's on one of those GLP-1 shots, you got to be careful. You don't want to worry that your body's going to stop producing it altogether because you're injecting it synthetically. This will ensure that your body continues to produce it naturally. What you can expect after you become insulin sensitive, you can expect your cravings to decrease, your food preferences actually change, comfort while fasting, steady focused energy, mood boost, clear mind, better sleep, improved digestion, losing inches, cholesterol and blood sugar, blood pressure, skin, joint pain, inflammation decrease. This is all benefits that I have personally seen, and I have seen for countless people who have taken a chance on these 2 simple steps, implemented this protocol, used it properly and consistently, and had phenomenal results. One of my favorite things about it is the company that I purchased this through. I just buy it direct from the manufacturer. And the company that I purchased this 2-part system from, they do a 90-day money-back guarantee. And they do this intentionally because they know that 90 days is your A1C reading. That's a snapshot of your blood sugars. And so if you use this properly and consistently, you can actually prove on your labs that it works. But if for any reason you're unsatisfied, just get your money back. And all of us that are using this, we just buy it direct from the manufacturer. We do get a discount on it. And we recommend that you do it that way too, so that you can get the $75 off. Whoever invited you to this call, you just reach out to them and say, hey, send me the link. And you'll get that same discounted price. Plus, this time of year, first of all, we already talked about that it's the perfect time of year to add something like this. I know all of you do not want to be on a diet. You don't want somebody telling you that you're not going to enjoy all of the holiday indulgences, but having a little extra support would be nice to buffer the impact. But then we're looking at right after the holidays and going into the new year. And we know you're ready to lock in. You want to get good results. You're sick of feeling like this. You want better energy. You want to regulate your hormones. You want to get your metabolism where it should be. This is the simplest thing you can do. So we have created a challenge that starts on January 7th, and it is free. It's a free gift with purchase if you decide we are going to try the system. Okay. So when you order the system, it looks kind of like this. It shows up at your house. You get a little bottle where you can measure it. The products are there. You're going to hear from us. You're going to get a video on how to use it and steps, and we'll hold your hand. But mostly we want you to come into that group, because that group is going to be an army of people on the same path as you. And we know that you are going to have better results being accountable and part of a group than you will if you're just trying to kind of do something like this on your own. And so let us be your accountability partners, your cheerleaders. We'll give you little drips of science and what's happening inside your body each day. And you get to just come into that group, check in, and all the coaching, all of the resources in there are totally free for you. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing. Food guides, fasting calendars, daily exercise, little 10-minute routine things that you can do. There's so much in there that you'll have full access to if you decide that you're going to try this. But let's just say you don't want to try it and you just want to start your meals with fiber and eating less frequently. I can guarantee you right now that you will feel better. Give it 3 weeks, give it a month of shifting just those two things, and you'll notice a massive difference. But if you want a little extra help to get there easily, then you can try what we're trying.
Amazing. All right. That was phenomenal. Let's give a round of applause to Brittney. Brittney, you're rock star at this. I learned some things today. Who learned some things today? Let's go around. Okay. And David Andrew, what'd you learn today? Brittney, we'll go to you too.
I learned more about how fiber works.
Awesome. Savannah Grace, what'd you learn today?
Biggest thing is about not having breakfast, and then if you don't have breakfast, that you use your body as fuel. So that was a huge shocker for me. So I'm very intrigued. Thank you,
Awesome.
Brittney.
Thanks, Savannah. Gina, did you learn anything today, Gina?
Yeah, for me, the thing that I learned is the big difference between the US and Europe, the eating difference, because it's also my work, what I do. And the big difference is really the food that in different states is so huge. I love the product because it's so easy to help people with this.
Well, you've had amazing results already, Gina, right? On the product.
Yeah.
Lorna, what did you learn today? You learn anything?
For me, it was seeing that visual of the insulin when it's high, to see the impact that it has, and then when it doesn't be there, where the fat burning type is, getting that energy. I love that of where the body is going to get its energy from, either the food or there. So the fasting, and in the month that I've been on it, it's been effortless watching my body shift and change.
Thanks, Brittney. This has been amazing. And I learned just watching your visual stuff too. I'm like, no wonder I'm feeling better the last 8 weeks, whatever it's been, 7 weeks. I feel everything feels better. I've not even been taking my vitamins, and I'm on really expensive vitamins. And I'm like, just trying it, I'm like, I don't even feel like I need anything. And I feel better than when I used to take my vitamins. So whatever's going on, I feel better, look better. Gosh darn it, people like me. Brittney, thank you so much for today. What did you learn from today, Brittney?
Well, yes, and David, David Andrew Weeb, if you have something, chime in too. I'm curious, but I'll tell you one thing that came to my mind. But go ahead, David.
Oh, I didn't have anything else. Did I signal that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you did. My bad. Okay. Well, yes, I just was thinking to myself, one of the things that really gets me is this idea that there's a mental side of this, right? Like if you know that by sipping on this, you are giving your body access to the energy that it already has more readily, it's so much more motivating to actually sip on it, right? And there's multiple benefits. Not only is sipping on something like this going to help your body access the storage that it has better, but it also really helps with your insulin sensitizing, which is like the biggest issue we have. All of us are dealing with brain fog or energy crashes or whatever. And hearing Lorna explained the other day, I was talking to her, she said that she's just noticing her body composition shift. And that's because literally the body's like, oh, you know what we should do first? We should go grab any of those fat cells that are around her vital organs causing problems in your midsection. That's where it takes it first. Our body's so smart and it knows what to do, and it will take it from those areas that are the most, affected. And we end up feeling fantastic because of this. And so understanding the why behind what we're doing while simultaneously, keeping it simple and keeping it approachable and having it be something you can throw in your purse or your back pocket or your car so that you can just have it with you at any time has been a game changer for me. My adult acne cleared up in my first, well, and I should say this too. Most people feel fantastic day one. I was not one of them. When I first started this, intermittent fasting was very new for me. And I felt bad. Like I would say for the first 3 weeks, I was kind of like, I don't think this is good for me. I had a lot of mental drama about it. I felt like a little bit more headachy and weak. And now I know I needed electrolytes and there were some small shifts I should have made. But I would say around the 3 week mark, I just stayed with it because I was committed. I'd heard all these great results and I was like, okay, I just got to give this a fair shot. And around the 3 week mark, it shifted for me. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm starting to feel good. Like what's happening? And then it just kind of kept getting better. And it was around the 5 or 6 week mark that I'm like, I think I've lost weight. I didn't even try. I haven't changed my diet. Because we always thought, you got to eat less and move more to lose weight. And I wasn't doing that. When I was eating my meals, I was still eating. I wasn't counting calories or anything, right? But all of a sudden I was noticing a shift. And then my adult acne started clearing up. My focus got better. I got labs done and I looked at the difference. I'm like, my cholesterol has drastically improved. And like, what? I think this stuff might actually work. And so I am just here to tell you that that's part of what's good about being in a group too, is whether you feel fantastic day one or you need a little extra hand holding, that's what this is for, is to support you along your journey so that you're not in this alone. And so, yeah, thanks for having me. What a treat to hear from all of you, and look forward to having you all come be part of the group.
Thanks, Brittney. We should just, before we do call to action, like for those watching, next steps, let's just hit that a little bit more. David Andrew Weeb, what have you noticed on the product since?
I would say increase in energy and mental clarity would be the main things.
Okay. Gina, what have you noticed being on this protocol?
And the first thing I noticed was after flying to Canada, I had this bloated belly. I had always obstipation, and taking the product the first day, it was completely gone. And flying back home, I didn't have any complaints also. So that's gone. And now after a stressful period, I noticed that my energy is going full up again. So
did you historically have constipation, or what was the purpose of?
When I was young, I had IBS very badly, and the one thing that remained is after flying, I have a bloated belly and traveling. How do you call that? Traveler's constipation. Usually, yes. I don't have any problems with it anymore, but only when I travel, and it helps so good. Yeah.
Awesome, Lorna. What did you notice?
Mm-hmm. initially, like literally within, I'm going to say a minute, it was like energetically, it just, I could feel this just anchored into my body. Within 5 to 6 days, bowel movements were just much more easy and smooth. And at the 2 week point, it was, well, I noticed it, Amos, that you noticed it on a call. It was like my face starting to show, my clothes that were snug. Now, all of a sudden, it was like, wow, I'm grabbing like a couple of inches of my clothes that used to cling are now actually hanging there. Joints, my muscle joint pain from past chemo and meds, that was not there. And then also when and even though the scale didn't show a different, my body, I was literally watching it shift, like getting smaller, like clothes were fitting differently. I was visibly seeing the difference. And usually when there's any type of a weight loss at all, the chemo that I was on was that one that my feet were really sensitive to pressure. I had to wear padded shoes, and like temperature was very, very sensitive. So if I could only use warm water while I was on that, I was using like, wow, I'm using hot water. And so the side effects of that chemo coming out of my system were non-issues.
Thank you, Lorna. And for myself, I thank you for sharing. Savannah Grace, you're not on the products yet, right? Not yet? Okay. For myself, I only did it because I wanted off coffee, which I heard it could get me off, and it did. Day one, I've had no side effects. 7 weeks today, I think. I wanted to lean out. I didn't know where I'd find a product to help me lean out, but I already was doing a day or two of intermittent fasting a week, but I was struggling to do it 5 or 6 days a week. With this, I easily do it 5 or 6 days a week now, which also has led to loss of body fat. And I've noticed not just I have left body fat over top my, say, abs. I actually have measured turning sideways. My body in my stomach is slimmer. So I don't know if it's visceral fat in the organs or if my pipes are getting cleaned out, but my midsection is slimmer and I've lost fat. I'm like, okay. And then also the digestion is amazing. Hey, Brittney, for those watching, if you're watching this, wherever this is posted, so number one, you have two options. Brittney, thank you for teaching us those two things people can do for the holidays. Number one. Number two, if you want to try the products, connect with the person who posts this or invited you to this video. They'll get you a link for $75 off. You're going to get the 30-day, it's like a boot camp kind of thing. It's this challenge. You get that for free with all the coaching, all the training. And so you can set yourself up for success in 2026. Get with them. But either which way, thank you so much, Brittney, for doing this. This has been very informative, very valuable. Appreciate your time. Lorna, thanks for showing up. Gina, thanks for showing up. Savannah Grace, always great to see you. And David Angeli, what a pleasure. So Brittney, back to you for final thoughts, and then we'll end the recording.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thanks for being here. And yeah, remember that, yes, you can Google this and you can go find it for $75 more, but you don't get any of the coaching and their extra tools or support. Don't do that. I've had people do that and they're always like, oh, I regret that. I didn't want to order it through you because I didn't want to get you excited and thinking that I just wanted to try it first and see what I thought before I jumped into being part of this group and stuff. If you don't want to be part of the group, you don't have to be part of the group. You can just do this on your own. Please make sure you're getting the additional support and coaching just sent to your email at the very least by getting it through that $75 off link. So plus that's what gives you the 90-day money back guarantee as well. So excited to do this and looking forward to meeting more of you. Thanks for having me today, Amos.